Hi, this is Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. And what we're going to make is ciabatta bread or ciabatta rolls. Now, if you don't want to make the rolls, then you certainly can make a loaf of bread out of it. If you particularly don't like this recipe, I do have another one on my channel. It's just a little different measurements and components of flours and what have you. But this is a good one. I really love the way these rolls come out, and I've gotten, well, a lot of compliments from people that have tried them or made them themselves. So first off, I'm going to give you the recipe because I'm sorry about it, but I no longer put the recipes below the video, and I'll explain that later. But anyway, if you're interested in the recipe, I'm going to give it to you right now. And if you want to, grab a pen and paper or something to write it down with, you'll have it. Okay, and hopefully I'm going to go through slowly enough and clearly enough that you're going to be able to get the recipe. This probably is the hardest part of making this recipe, is waiting for it, because you have to make a starter or what's called a biga, and it require you to have anywhere from 9 to 17 hours to make that. And what I generally do is I put it together in the evening, and by the morning when I get up or when I get a chance to it, then I can put the rest of it together and make the rolls or the bread. So here is the recipe for the starter, for the biga. You need 1/3 cup of water, and that's a tepid water around 70 to 78 degrees, okay? That's 1/3 cup of water. I actually do mine in the microwave and the water, and it's quick, it's easy. You will need a half a teaspoon of dry active yeast, so a half a teaspoon of yeast. And you're going to need 2/3 of a cup of either your bread flour, or what I'm making these out of today is high gluten. I know that a lot of people are not fans of gluten, or they're allergic to it, and of course they can't consume the gluten. But you will find the best results with this bread using a high gluten flour. If you don't have it or don't like it, then go ahead and use a bread flour. No, I've never made them with all-purpose flour, because I know I'll probably get that question, but I've never tried it, so I don't know how to tell you what the results would be. But these rolls that I'm going to show you today are from high gluten flour, okay? So that's your starter. And again, you need to wait 9 to 17 hours. Now, whether you're going to do this by hand or in the bread maker, as I do, because I think it's quick, it's easy, and I find consistency all the time when I use my makers. What I do is I put those ingredients, the water, the yeast, and the flour that I just told you about, I put it in here. I turn the machine on for about 4 minutes, shut it off, and then just let it sit in there till that time elapses, and you can then start to put the bread together, okay? So 4 minutes, it mixes it, and I just, like I said, unplug it, and that's it, till I come back to it in 9 or 7, up to 17 hours, I should say. Now, I'm going to take out half of the recipe, so I cut it in half. Now, when this bread comes out, you're going to see it is quite, sticky. It can kind of, frustrate you. Put a little bit of flour on your countertop or your workspace or whatever you're doing, and I'm going to just pour this out. Now, again, this is half. This is what you're seeing. You will get double the amount on this. And I just want to get this out as much as I can. And I hate to waste it, especially that you had to wait all those hours to make it. And as you see, it is quite sticky. Now, what you'll want to do is put a little bit of flour on the top and then just work with it. You don't want to overwork it because you don't want this dough to be dense and heavy. But as you see, with just a little bit of flour, how manageable it is. It's soft, it's pillowy, it's light. It is a beautiful, beautiful dough. Other than, like I said, you could see how very, messy, that it can be. All right, the next thing that I do is I like to measure my rolls so I have consistency on size and look and timing for the oven. So I usually make my rolls about 3 ounces, rather, I should say. So I just, cut a little bit of this off and weigh it. And that's over a little bit. So I want to get just to 3. You'll eyeball it after a while. Okay, just a little bit more. Okay, there we go. And then I'm just going to set this aside for the second, okay? All right, so I've got my 3 ounces. Roll it in a little bit of flour because you want it when it bakes up. You want it to have that flour top to it. And these are a little bit more difficult to handle. I just kind of squeeze it all together from the bottom like that. Give it a press and then just roll it in the palms of my hands. If they come out where they're not completely shaped correctly, it's really what they taste like and that kind of thing. So I just round them off. Now some people do make them into like little pillows, little rectangles. You can do that, and you want to use them for sandwiches, the same thing, this, or a dinner roll or whatever. And do place them a couple inches apart because they're going to spread. Now, I'm not going to bore you with showing you how to, cut away 3 ounces of dough. I went ahead and heavily greased my pan. Use parchment paper, use your mats, whatever that you prefer. Now, I get 12 dozen rolls out of this, or one very large or 2 small loaves of this recipe. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to bake it at 400 and anywhere from 450 to 475. And these rolls can come up within 12, 15 to even 20 minutes. It really varies because our ovens are set up so differently. So you do want to watch them closely that they don't burn and then dry out in your oven. Now, once that you've got all your rolls or your bread on your tray, then cover it with a towel and let it set till they double. Now, it might take a half hour, it might take an hour. It really depends on the temperature of your kitchen. Mine today, because it's a cold day here, it took me a full hour for them to rise. You do need to rise these, and you're probably going to say, well, gee, I know that, but just in case someone hasn't, done a lot of this, it's a good reminder that you want to cover them and get them away from any draft and wait till they double in size and then to bake them. Now I'm just going to rinse my hands quickly, and then I want to show you the finished product. Okay, so you have a better idea what they look like. All right, and this is how they come out. They are just beautiful looking rolls. I think they are anyway. The outside, you can see that nice flour top and then the nice golden brown on the bottom. And I went ahead and I cut one in half to show you all those pretty air bubbles in there. And then to pull it apart, it will have a nice, well, it's a crispy top, but it's not a hard crust to it. And then the inside does have that bit of that ciabatta chew that when you bite into that bread, but so moist, so light. Oh, these are so delicious when they just come out of the oven and they're warm. Put a little butter or margarine or, well, even jam or jelly or preserves on them. They are fabulous. And if they, you don't want to freeze them, yet I freeze my bread. I wrap it really well, but I use it within a couple weeks. You can go ahead, and if you know, they get stale, I cut them in half. They're great for breakfast, for a toast or that type of thing. Oh, they are delicious tasting rolls or bread, however you choose to make it. If you try this recipe and you like it, well, I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment. If you have questions, I'll answer them very much in a timely fashion. I want to remind you to please watch me solely on YouTube, because that's the only place I put my videos. And that's one of the reasons, and I'm not alone on it, is that I don't put the recipes anymore, because I'm so frustrated to see people write to me or comment and my work's been taken and posted in different places and I can't answer you. It's really frustrating. So it's one of the reasons I don't do it anymore. So I want to thank you for watching Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. And again, please, I'd love to hear from you if you've tried this recipe and you like it, okay? So stay well, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.